What we're going to look at here is the idea of corresponding parts of congruent triangles. So when you have two triangles that are congruent with one another, and remember what congruent means. Congruent means same size, same shape, okay? So when we have two triangles, and this triangle right here is triangle ABC, and how can we be sure that it's triangle ABC? Well, look, it has points creating the triangle, point A, point B, and point C. And so that's how we define a triangle. Triangle A, B, C. And then it goes back to the original, okay? So this is triangle ABC. And over here we have triangle D, E, F. Okay, so triangle D, E, F. Okay. And so here's what we're saying is that these two triangles are congruent with one another. Okay, so we're going to say that triangle ABC and triangle DEF are congruent. That means that this triangle and this triangle are the exact same shape and they are the same size. Okay, and so what we want to look at here is we want to look at the lengths of the sides. Okay, so for example, this side right here, A, this is side A, and A is shorter than side B. Side B is longer than side A, okay? And side C is even longer than side B, okay? So side C is the longest, that's the longest side right there, okay? And side A, that's the shortest. That's the shortest side, okay? All right. And if we go over here to triangle DEF, we see the exact same thing. We see that side E is the shortest side. Short. Okay. And that side F is the longest side. And so what we're going to say here is that side F corresponds to side C because they're both the longest side. And side A corresponds to side E because they're both the shortest side. That makes side B the medium side and side D the medium side, and therefore side B corresponds to side D. So when we come over here, it says side A corresponds to what side? Well, we just said it. Side A is the shortest side, and side E is the shortest side. So that means side A corresponds to side E. Side B is medium and side D is medium. So side B corresponds to side D. Side C is the longest side and so is side F. Therefore, side C corresponds to side F. We can do the exact same thing with angle measures. Here you can see that angle C is larger than angle A. This is a smaller angle than this angle, okay? So A is a smaller angle than C. Remember, an angle measure is how open it is, okay? This is very open, okay? And this one isn't very open. And B here, angle B, we're going to call this angle B, angle A, and angle C, okay? And so angle C is the largest angle. And over here in triangle DEF, we can see that angle F is the largest. And so therefore, angle C corresponds to angle capital F, okay? Now let's compare angle E and angle D. Well, it looks to me like angle D is larger than angle E, and it looks like angle A is smaller than angle B. So A is the smallest and E is the smallest. So angle A corresponds to angle E. And angle B right here, which is the middle angle, corresponds to the middle angle, angle D. And that's how we identify corresponding sides of congruent triangles. Let's look at another example. So this is triangle ABC. This is triangle DEF. And right here it says that they're both congruent, that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Okay? And so let's look at the sides. Well, what is the largest side over here? It looks like B is the largest side. What's the largest side over here? It looks like F is the largest side. Therefore, B and F correspond to each other. So here, look, this says side F corresponds to side B. Okay. Looks like A is the smallest side. This is really small here, right? And over here, it looks like D is the smallest side. So that means A corresponds to D. So it says side D corresponds to side A. And that must mean that C is the middle side on ABC and E is the middle side on DEF. So that means that C and E correspond to each other. Side E corresponds to side C. Okay. Now, same thing with angles. You can see F is the largest angle, and over here, B is the largest angle, and therefore angle F corresponds to angle B. It looks like here's E and here's D. It looks to me like D is smaller than E. Over here, here's angle A and here's angle C, and it looks like angle A is smaller than angle C. And therefore, A is the smallest angle, and D is the smallest angle. Therefore, angle D corresponds to angle A. And therefore, C must be the middle angle, and E is the middle angle. So angle E corresponds to angle C. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, now don't be freaked out by this. Do you see how I have written here angle DAE is right here? That means that this angle right here, this angle, instead of calling it angle A, we're going to call it DAE. Why are we not going to just call this angle A? Because if we say angle A, we could mean this angle, or we could mean this angle. There's two possibilities for angle A, and so it's ambiguous. We don't know what, if we say angle A, which one is it? Is it this one? Or is it this one? And so since we don't know which one it's going to be, we give a more specific description of the angle, and we call it angle DAE. Why DAE? Well, we start at D, we go to A, and we go to E. That specifically identifies this particular angle right here. Whereas BAC, angle BAC, starts at B, goes to A, and ends at C. So it specifically means this angle right here, okay? So we're not going to say angle A. We're going to say either BAC or we're going to say DAE, okay? All right, so here's triangle ABC and here's triangle ADE, okay? And they are congruent to each other. So it looks to me like this says side A. Well, what is A here? Here's side A. A looks shorter than B, but it looks longer than C. So I think C is the shortest side, B is the longest side, and A is the middle side. On this side, it looks to me like D is the longest, E is the shortest, and F is the middle. So this is the middle side, A is the middle side over here. B is the longest side, D is the longest side over here, and E is the shortest side, and C is the shortest side. Therefore, side A must correspond, that's the middle, that must correspond to side F. Okay. Now we have side B. That's the longest side on the left, so we're going to correspond that to the longest side on the right, which is D. Then we have side C. Side C is the shortest on the left. Now we're going to go to the shortest on the right, which is E. So side C corresponds to side E. Now let's look at the angles. All right, so we have angle D. Well, here's angle D, okay? It looks like angle D goes along with angle B. I'm not sure. Well, look, C is smaller than B, and then this angle here looks a little bit smaller than B. And so D also looks like the largest angle. So that means B and D are the largest angles. So angle D corresponds to angle B. Angle E over here looks like it corresponds to angle C over here. So E corresponds to angle C. And then here, angle DAE, that's right here, DAE, that's this angle, looks like it corresponds to this angle right here, which is BAC. And so we're going to say that DAE corresponds to BAC. Let's look at just one more. All right, now this one's a little weird. We have triangle ABC on this side. See, we have ABC. That's this side triangle. But this triangle over here is ACD. It includes A to C to D, okay? So it's this triangle, okay, and this triangle. That's two triangles, okay? And what we're saying is that ABC is congruent to ACD. And we want to say which sides correspond. Well, this is a really hard one. I'm going to go ahead and just give you the answers here. It looks like angle D corresponds to angle B. Now, B corresponds to itself. You'll see here that we have a side that is shared by both triangles. Side B is in this triangle, and it's also in this triangle. And so what we would say here is we would say that side B corresponds to side B. And that's okay. That's called the reflexive property of in geometry. It means that a geometric object is congruent to itself and it corresponds to itself. Okay, but that doesn't always happen in all triangles. Sometimes it doesn't correspond to itself. And then just so you know, if you look at it closely, it looks like A corresponds to F and E corresponds to C. And this angle here, ACB, actually corresponds to this one down here because look, this angle right here is larger than this angle, but this angle is larger than this angle. So that makes this the largest angle in ACD. And it makes this angle the largest angle in ABC, okay? So this angle corresponds to this angle. And so angle ACB corresponds to angle CAD. ACB corresponds to CAD. And then we can also say that ACD corresponds to BAC. And that's all we have for corresponding parts of congruent triangles.